But that's in the Old Testament. Ah! So is the creation. And so is the faith of Abraham, who kept the law. Genesis 26:5, because Abraham obeyed my voice and did guard my watch, my commandments, my statutes, and my Torah. So what are people really saying when they say, but that's in the Old Testament? What people really mean is that is the law for those people back then. But Isaiah 56:3 says, neither let the son of the stranger that has joined himself to El Yahuwah speak, saying, Yahuwah has utterly separated me from his people. Neither let the eunuch say, behold, I am a dry tree. We will make up every excuse not to keep God's law. Well, what do you think he's going to use to govern his kingdom in the future? He's going to use his law. He's going to use the Torah. This one page right here in our Bibles has caused so much confusion and division in believers today. This one little piece of paper right here. Well, why is it there? Do yourselves a favor and tear it out. The middle wall of division has been done away with. That wall is gone. It's been broken down. So let's look at a testament. What is a testament? We say the Old Testament. What does that mean? Well, let's look it up. Let's go to our eSword here. Type in the word testament. Well, wait a minute. Look. The word testament's not even in the Old Testament. So what does this word testament mean? It says properly a disposition that is specifically a contract, a covenant. Okay, that's fine. So what is a covenant then? Well, let's go to the Old Testament to find out what a covenant is. Just do a little word search here. Covenant. 1285, Barith. It's a compact. It says in the sense of cutting. It's a confederacy, a covenant, a league. So a covenant is a cutting. It's where they would cut the animal and they would use its blood as a way of signifying, like a blood signature, that they agree to obey the commands. Well, we're in a new covenant where the blood of a Messiah was used as a way to signify that we agree to obey the commands. That's the new covenant, the New Testament. It's not a new law, or it's not a doing away with the law completely, but it's a new contract. Like if you refinance your house, you're still keeping intact the agreement to pay off the house, but you've cut a new covenant, a new contract to pay at a different rate. It's a better covenant. Look at Exodus 19:5-6. Now therefore, if you will obey my voice, indeed, and keep my covenant, then ye shall be a peculiar treasure unto me above all people. For all the earth is mine, and ye shall be unto me a kingdom of priests, and a holy nation. These are the words which thou shalt speak unto the children of Israel. That sounds familiar. Where have we heard this before? Ah, yes, 1 Peter chapter 2, verses 9-10. But you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, a holy nation, a peculiar people, a peculiar treasure, that ye should show forth the praises of him who has called you out of darkness into his marvelous light, which in time past you were not a people, but now are the people of Yah, which had not obtained mercy, but now have obtained mercy. Before we disobeyed Yah, now we are to obey Yah. How do we do that? By keeping his commands in agreement with the new covenant, with the new contract, with the blood of his son. We're either law keepers or we are law breakers. It's that simple. This has happened multiple times throughout biblical history. His people would break the previous covenant by disobeying the commands, and all the prophets, the kings, the righteous kings, would bring them back into covenant by agreeing to keep the commands. They would do new covenants. In the book of Joshua, chapter 24, verses 24 through 25. And the people said unto Yahusha, Yahuwah Eloheinu, will we serve, and his voice will we obey. So Yahusha cut a covenant, a new covenant with the people that day, and set them a statute and an ordinance in Shechem. Well, this is a new covenant, but it's still the same law. Joshua, who is a type of Messiah figure, he made a new covenant. He's bringing the people back so that they would obey the commands. Look at 2 Kings 23, verses 1 through 3. And the king, Josiah, sent, and they gathered unto him all the elders of Yehuda and of Jerusalem, Judah and Jerusalem. And the king went up into the house of Yahuwah, and all the men of Yehuda, and all the inhabitants of Jerusalem, with him, and the priest, and the prophets, and all the people, both small and great. And he read in their ears all the words of the Sefer, the book of the covenant, which was found in the house of Yahuwah. And the king stood by a pillar and cut a covenant. This is a new covenant before Yahuwah, to walk after Yahuwah, and to guard his commandments, and his testimonies, and its statutes, with all their heart and with all their soul, to perform the words of this covenant that were written in this Sefer. And all the people stood to the covenant. King Josiah cut a new covenant so that the people would perform the words that were written in the Torah, in the instructions. Look at 2 Kings 11:17. Jehoiada and Jehoiada cut a covenant between Yahuwah and the king and the people, and they should be Yahuwah's people, between the king also and the people. So we see here again kings making a new covenant, a new cutting, and bringing the people back to the original covenant where the people agree to keep the commands so that they can obey them. So if we are not agreeing to keep the commands, we are not in covenant with the Father via the Son. Our King made a covenant to bring his people back into obedience. What does our King say? What does our high priest tell us? Look at Matthew 5:17 through 19. Think not that I come to destroy the Torah. He says, don't even think it. Don't even let it enter your mind that this is even something that is plausible. He says, think not that I come to destroy the Torah or the prophets. I am not come to destroy. I have not come to abolish. I have not come to get rid of or change, but to fulfill, to complete, to carry out, to walk, to do, just like all the faithful, righteous prophets and priests and kings before him. He is a prophet, the one whom we should listen to, that was spoke about to Moses. He says, for Amen, I say unto you, till heaven and earth pass, one yod or one title shall in no wise pass from the Torah, till all be fulfilled. Whosoever shall break one of the least of these commandments, and shall teach men so, he shall be called the least in the kingdom of heaven. But whosoever shall teach, or shall do and teach them, the same shall be called great in the kingdom of heaven. John 15:10. What does he say? He says, if you guard my commandments, ye shall abide in my love, even in like manner, the same way that I have guarded my Father's commandments and abide in his love. The Messiah, he said, I have guarded my Father's commandments. So as followers of the Messiah, aren't we to mimic and guard the Father's commandments the same? Ask yourself, are you his disciple? Do you follow his instructions? Or do you follow that of your teachers and pastors who say that the law has been done away with? That's the Old Testament. That was for them back then, not for us. Who do you follow? But what about Paul? Well, yes, even Paul agrees that we should keep the law. Look at Romans 6:16. He says, "Know ye not what to whom ye yield yourselves servants to obey? His servants ye are to whom ye obey, whether of sin unto death, or of obedience unto righteousness." So it's that simple. If we obey, we are righteous. If we disobey, we are unrighteous. Simple. Romans 15:4. For whatsoever things were written aforetime were written for our instruction, that we, through patience and comfort of the Scriptures, might have hope. So what was written aforetime? What's he talking about? What gives us patience and comfort through the Scriptures? What was written aforetime? It's the Torah, the commands, the Scriptures, the Old Testament. Well, why was it written? It was written for our instructions. Instructions. He's giving us a path, a way. This is the way, the instructions. The Messiah said, "I am the way. Follow me. I keep my Father's commandments. Be my disciples. Follow the way." The instructions. It's this simple. Romans 16:26. But now is made manifest, and by the Scriptures of the prophets, according to the commandment of the everlasting Elohim, made known unto all nations. Why? Here's why. For the obedience of faith. So prior, the nations did not have access to the righteous commandments. And now we do. We have a new covenant, not made with the blood of bulls and goats, but with the blood of the Messiah. He was resurrected from the dead and is our high priest, who does not die like all the other priests before him did. This is a better, everlasting covenant. But it's the same instructions, it's the same laws, it's the same commands. It's a new cutting, a new agreement. It's the same. Yes, it's minus the Levitical priesthood and all the related temple commands, which have been translated into heaven, where our high priest sits mediating on our behalf. But everything else is still intact. It's just been translated up to heaven, where the king, or where the high priest is. He ministers in the heavenly temple, not made with hands. But we here on the earth, we're the earthly temple now. And we serve one another in his kingdom as priests by doing the commands and making atonement for people when we bring them back to obedience of his Torah, which will ultimately bring us blessings and good health. This is what he said. You will be great in the command, whoever does and teaches. Right? This is not our own doing or something that we made happen, but it's by Yah's grace that he alone decided to bring us back to him via the covenant that he cut with his son. Isaiah 42:6-7 says, I, Yahuwah, I have called you in righteousness and will hold your hand and will keep you and give you for a covenant of the people, for a light of the other nations, to open the blind eyes, to bring out the prisoners from the prison, and them that sit in darkness out of the prison house. We were imprisoned in our sins, and we were servants to the desires of our own way of doing things. But we have been brought back to the righteous commands. The Torah defines sin for us. It tells us what to do and what not to do, what to stay away from, what to eat, when to gather. These are instructions. It's so that we can live long and prosper in the land. That's the point. It's not to be judgmental or critical or throw the Bible at people and say you're not doing the law. It's to bless us, to give us life, to give us prosperity, to give us health, to avoid all the plagues of the nations. Are you sick? Why are you sick? Maybe let's look at the Creator and His instructions, and maybe we can be healthy. Do what He says. Keep the commands. Meet when He says. Understand His words. Repeat them, recite them, write them down, put them in you. Put that spirit, the word is spirit, put that spirit inside of you and speak the word. Be the truth. Be the light unto the world. It will free you. It will deliver you. I pray that this teaching has blessed you, and thank you for watching so much. And as always, remember to like, subscribe, and share. Shalom.
YahSplaining. YahSplaining.